597 day of Russian invasion Strait of Ukraine. The situation at the front. Today, numerous updates are emerging from the Avdiivka region. In this area, Russian troops have persisted in their offensive actions, aiming to encircle Avdiivka. Regarding the region's northern sector, the territorial advancements by the Russians are notably less than what their sources first suggested. And it appears the Russian troops haven't yet breached the railway lines. A closer inspection reveals that based on the latest geolocated videos, skirmishes are still occurring in the fields between Krasnohorivka and Ukraine's primary defensive structures. Videos from Russian outlets showcase several Russian tanks in action close to Krasnohorivka, attempting to weaken the initial defense line by launching high-explosive rounds at Ukrainian defenses before infantry deployment. The initial Ukrainian footage portrays a tank, along with its infantry, getting targeted merely 50 meters ahead of the Ukrainian defenses. However, the Russian forces chose to retreat. Another clip captures a Russian armored carrier's annihilation about 200 km northward from the earlier tank's position. The most recent video displays some armored units releasing infantry, only to be promptly attacked, with the damaged vehicles retreating and injured soldiers left behind. Therefore, skirmishes remain active before the railway tracks. And as members from the 110 Mechanized Brigade conveyed, the Russians haven't overtaken any defenses, suggesting Ukraine still retains control over this spot. As for the assault on Terrakon, newly available geolocated videos depict numerous blazing Russian equipment pieces near it. Additionally, Russian news outlets have begun to cautiously retract their assertions of Terrakon dominance, mentioning that Ukrainian forces counterattacked, driving the Russians away, thus the territory currently remains disputed. Nevertheless, Ukrainian reports deny any counterattacks, asserting Terrakon was never under Russian control. Thus, the Russian northern advancement near Avdiivka hasn't realized any significant gains. One factor behind the unsuccessful Russian push here is due to a Ukrainian undercover team infiltrating Russian-held areas and detonating a bridge, halting Russian backup deployment. This explosion also harmed 2 trucks, a tank, a howitzer, and an armored vehicle. Russian experts now argue that the Russian progression rate has decelerated because the focus shifted to more strategic assaults following early significant equipment losses. This additional disruption to an essential supply route might entirely hamper the Russian advance in this vicinity. To counter Ukrainian advances during these weakened attack phases, Russians have deployed incendiary weapons to confine Ukrainians within their bunkers. Simultaneously, Ukrainian forces are intensifying their strikes, targeting rear Russian positions to halt further reinforcements. In a notable strike, Ukrainian forces annihilated an armored vehicle, a truck, and approximately 30 soldiers. Concerning the region's southern portion, circumstances largely remain unchanged. After initially securing a tree line near Vodian on the offensive's initial day, Russians found advancing further challenging. Over the past 72 hours, Ukrainian soldiers from the 53 Mechanized Brigade have shared numerous footages of Russian attempts to traverse the fields, all ending in the Russian unit's total obliteration. The terrain is notably unfavorable for Russians, requiring an 8 km trek across open lowland fields before approaching the subsequent tree line. Hence, about 40% of videos showcasing Russian unit destruction are from Vodiane, with another 20% from Pisky. In summary, the Ukrainian forces demonstrated readiness against an intense and unforeseen Russian offensive. Currently, it's evident that the Russians are faltering, struggling against Ukrainian defiance. Meanwhile, per the Ukrainian General Staff, daily Russian casualties have again exceeded 1,000 troops, 25 tanks, and 50 armored vehicles, marking a peak in recent times.